Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to review Succession, Season 4, Episode 2, Rehearsal, directed by Becky Martin and written by Tony Roche and Susan Soon Hay Stanton. Good episode, man. I mean, whenever I'm done with one of these episodes, I get that sensation of when you would go watch a great comedy with your friends in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, because they don't make good comedies in theaters anymore. And you're just so eager to remember all the funny moments. It's like you're competing with the crowd you were with to remember the best jokes and the best bits. There's just so much that I could just like, hey, remember this part? Wasn't that funny? Ha 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 ha. But the dramatics are also so great. And I think one of the best dramatic scenes of this episode was when the family got together in the karaoke room and you're having all those confessions and there's so much tension and bad blood. So to me, this was just another great episode for season 4.
No, we had a kid in my friend group in high school who knew every line from the other guys.
He was the alpha of your group.
Everyone loved that guy.
He was the pack leader. You guys followed him.
Yes.
Right.
100%. But yeah, another strong episode. This one was...
He's actually here right now.
Aim for the bushes.
Oh, right. That's the other guys.
Yeah,
it's a funny scene.
Plot twist.
Right.
It was me.
Oh my God, look at that.
Yeah.
I'm buying that for a second.
But yeah, this was another great episode. I feel like there was a point in this episode where I hated every single character, where I was like, I hope nobody wins. And that's a great part of the show. Like, again, I kind of felt a little sorry for Logan. And then by the end, I'm like, fuck that old psychopath. And at the end, like, I really am, like, kind of not confused, but, like, conflicted on, like, who I want to win. I think I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I want to see everything just fall into chaos and just nobody has a happy ending. Because they're at the point now where they're all just, we saw it with Connor and with Roman, especially I think this episode, where it's kind of just, it's really depressing at times. Even though how funny it was seeing Connor sing karaoke and the interactions they were having because of the situation evolving, when you step back and look at it, like, I just felt really bad for like a character like Connor.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, he garners the most sympathy, especially in this episode, because all he really wanted was to have a nice rehearsal dinner. And then Willa gets cold feet. She's out partying with her friends. He's tracking her, probably violating her privacy.
I just think it's a factory setting.
It's not.
And then he just wants to hang out with his siblings, who are late because their dad fucked them over. But how many times has he heard those excuses, right? Oh, we couldn't be here because dad fucked us over. It's like, at this point, whose side do I take? Because Connor truly is... He reminds me of Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin. He's just happy to be alive. And it's like, why can't you guys just be happy to be with me? And no, for everybody else, the world isn't enough. So now his passions are reigniting for news. And as Greg says, he's moseying around the newsroom. And Kendall, Shiv, and Roman, they're saying that, you know, they think that dad's gone soft, they could get more money, but Logan thinks it's personal, so it probably is, or there's an element of both in it, where so much of their personal and their business has become entangled in such a disgustingly repulsive knot.
Right.
But even to your point about hating all these characters, or coming out with no sympathy for any of them, like Kendall, Roy, and Shiv like to present themselves as the antithesis of Logan,
right?
That we're going to take him down. But then when they walk into the bar, all their comments they make when they walk into the bar where Shiv's like, oh, should I order the house red? And Roman's complaining about the menus. They have just as much contempt, or even more so than Logan, for the working class.
That pissed me off more than anything they've ever done.
Right, and at the very least, it's almost like, at the very, 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 very least, Logan has some sort of respect,
right,
which is admirable for the working class.
He ate McDonald's at one time.
Fuck off.
Or even going back to the very first episode when Roman's tormenting the poor kid about hitting the home run, and Logan says, magnificent effort.
Son. Damn. Magnificent effort.
Thank you.
Magnificent.
Where he's not going to give him the handout, but he'll acknowledge that this kid at least tried to work for something in his life, whereas his kids have been handed everything.
Well, that's what Logan, humble beginnings. That's the difference between him and his children. And I bet those wings would have been the best wings he would have ever had in his life. So, fuck you, Roman.
They're all such pieces of shit.
Dude, like, even Shiv and Kendall, like, they're so stupid sometimes. They think... I think the difference is Shiv is maybe a little bit more... I think Kendall might be a little bit more dumber than Shiv. I think Shiv might be a little smarter than Kendall. but she's stubborn at times, where I feel like the play they're making right now isn't about anything more than, and I think they get called out on it during this episode, and I'm not a business guy. Maybe it is the right decision, but at the end of the day, after all they've been through, just the amount of, just how exhausting this process has been for them. When Logan's appealing to them, obviously we find out that, you know, he's definitely still has a few plays up his sleeve, but when he's appealing to them, in my mind, I'm like, just take it. Like, even though some things may be unrepairable, but like, this is the out that you've been looking for. It's finally over. It's right in front of you, and you still can't take it because you want that little more. And it's something where, obviously, their whole family dynamic has always been connected through Waystar and the business and the company. And even before they were of age, obviously they've had their problems with their father. You know, that's not going to be the end of it, but you don't think separating yourself from that and still having a fresh start could just be beneficial as a family? To continue to drag this out, I think was just not the best move for them at this point.
Yeah, and it goes back to them buying Pierce, and you see them in this episode where they're strategizing how they're going to reshape Pierce and what they're going to focus on, and it feels like they're in way over their heads, where Kendall has, his ideas are ridiculous, Shiv is a bit more moderate, and Roman sounds like he should be working at ATN, so when his father does approach him there at the end, you can understand why it piques his curiosity, because he says we should make late night news a Clockwork Orange. Which is such a funny metaphor for the state of our news right now. But
he's never seen that movie.
No, probably not. Although, you know, he's a freaky guy. I could see that being near the top. Like that and Elephant Man, you know, some weird stuff.
He took the wrong message from it. He's been, like, I think the smartest of the siblings so far this season. I think his reluctance, I mean, really, the only reason why they have to extend the negotiations and try to squeeze out more is because they overpaid for Pierce, which Roman told them, hey, don't do that.
Right, yeah.
What's
once again, it was a personal
million?
thing.
It's a lot, especially when this whole squeeze, what did Kendall say? It's an extra $100 million? So you're basically in this position because you fucked up last episode.
Right. And then it becomes, once again, it's just compounding these personal issues you're having with your father and bringing them over to the business side, and it's put you in a tough place right now. So Sandy and Stewie, the hawks that they are, they know that they can get their claws in there and try and, you know, either blow this thing up or get more money out of it. I think that they may be fine either way.
Yeah, it doesn't affect them as much as it does the kids.
No, and I think they see an opening, they see an opportunity, and the way Skarsgård played Mattson, he's been so terrific in the little scenes that he's had, but he does seem like someone who would walk, that he could just turn on the dime, get tired of all this, the blood feud between this family.
Dude, and Kendall having that conversation with him and his first reaction being like, oh, yeah, we can...
His first instinct is, he won't walk.
Yeah, there's a window.
He feels pressure.
Yeah, we can take more. It's like, no, you can't. I even realized that watching it. And Logan realizes it. It's like, no, he's going to fucking walk and you're going to blow everything up.
Right, and Logan always does such a great job of mimicking emotions when he has to. So he does come off as genuine. But I think that, you know, they're so clouded that they're not heeding the advice that he's giving them. That Mattson is not this type of personality that he's not the type of personality that you could just, you know, fuck around with and expect him to budge. But with Logan, you know, when he at the end when he says that you guys aren't serious people, and Brian Cox in his interview mentioned that the kids are always scheming and planning, whereas Logan's just very direct. And you see that in this episode, right? He wants to fix ATN. What does he do? He goes down there and makes a terrifying speech.
Because I love it in here. I fucking love it!
You know, he hears that the kids are going to ask for more money. He tracks them down to the karaoke bar and barges right in. Whereas the kids are always scheming and planning. They're always looking for a leg up, and it always backfires on them. And you're seeing it here, where Roman is the one saying, we need to stop this scheming. Let's focus on our company. And Shiv and Kendall can't resist.
You know the guy who, like, you play pickup basketball with, who does too many moves and ends up just fucking up? I mean, and all you have to do on defense is just stand there?
Right, yeah.
That's what Logan basically has to do. He can just let them just keep moving and just
dribble off his
scheming,
foot.
thinking, oh, he's probably going to do this, so we need to do this. And meanwhile, Logan could just sit back and chill and let them self-destruct.
Yeah, dude. And with Logan, man, it's so funny because, as I said, I think he's got more of a respect for the working class, even though he refers to everybody as pygmies. When he's getting ready to give his speech on the newsroom floor, he goes, I'm going to do it right here, man of the people, but get me a box so I can stand above everybody else. And the one line Tom had where he's like,
I could give you a kiss from here.
Logan looked like he wanted to laugh. That's why Logan's such a fascinating character, because behind all the sociopathic tendencies, I think there is a semblance of a man who appreciates humor, who appreciates wit. I think, as I said, deep down, there's still that, that human being under all the, the gruff exterior. And I think, the scene in the karaoke bar, perfect setting, right? It's the one place where people can let their guards down and be vulnerable. And it's, as I mentioned, Logan being the true blue sociopath, he's able to mimic those emotions, tell the kids what they've been wanting to hear for a long, long time. But once again, it comes at a moment where it's because Logan needs them. So he's going to tell them what he thinks that they want to hear.
Sorry.
And I think they were even taken aback because it felt genuine. You feel the remorse, and this is something that they haven't really experienced with their father, at least in the show. And I think it's also a credit to Brian Cox as an actor that he's able to flip that switch and give off the impression of a loving and remorseful father who's looking for forgiveness from his kids, even if he can't say it directly. But it's one of those, we can get on the kid's case for not accepting this olive branch, but there's a lot of fucking baggage there. And as I said, a little too little and a little too late. But Brian Cox, he's been such a tremendous performer in this series. So he could give you this heartfelt moment, a version of a heartfelt moment, but then he also, gives that riveting speech, half terrifying, but also half inspiring.
I wanted the job.
And once again,
it's
mirroring
for you, Mr. Roy.
Just the dick eating is crazy, honestly.
I thought he was gonna lay off half the staff after that.
Right, that could have been another funny way to tie it into modern business practices. Everybody's just laying off their workers even though they're making incredible profits. But this idea that we're not going to tell the news anymore, we're going to basically create the news. And once again, mirroring the state of our news cycles right now. So I love the way that they've been able to tie in contemporary politics and business practices to the show. But Brian Cox continues to be, in my opinion, the best actor on the show. And that speech, as scary as it was riveting. As you said, you get a little inspired by it.
Something faster, lighter, meaner, wilder. You're fucking pirates!
Because the passion, I don't think, is fake. I think he truly does have a passion for news. For better or worse.
Yeah.
For worse, probably. For much worse.
But then, in those moments, especially at the end when he's trying to apologize, it did feel like the most sincere he's been. Obviously, they start listing off the things that he should be apologizing for, and you realize maybe it's not as easy as what Logan's presenting. The effort was made, I guess, and that's a start, but then you just see at the end Roman kind of reverting back to, yet again, going back to his father. And that's the control he has over these kids. I think even Shiv and Kendall, if you ask them in these moments, they would tell you that they broke away. He doesn't have that power over them anymore. I think he still does, but I think Roman is one who is not as stubborn as the other two, where, like you saw, he texted his father. He's not willing to completely cut off communications with him. Because I think in his mind, it's it's still my dad, and whatever happened in the past, obviously we need to fix some things, but at the end of the day, that's still my father. So he's more willing to even just be in the room as him. And once he's in that same room as Logan and he gets his claws in him, he's not leaving.
Right, and that's why Logan is such a despicable man, because even when it comes off as sincere and genuine, he's always using these kids to a certain end. So with Roman, he notices that, he's a bit warmer towards me.
Done it with Kendall and Shiv so many times already.
Right. And it felt like season 3 was that opportunity for Roman to be manipulated by his father and then get fucked over. I mean, he does seem to take what happens at the season 3 finale more personally than Shiv and Kendall, because it's sort of been there, done that. But I think with Roman and Logan, they realize that they have a chemistry that the other two kids just don't have with their father when it comes to business. Where Kendall was always jockeying for that top position, Shiv was smart, but probably not as smart as she thinks she is, especially when it comes to business. Whereas Roman's willing to learn. Roman's willing to be patient. Well, Roman plays the game similarly to Logan, where it's not about the scheming and the backstabbing. It's about going with your gut and doing what you feel is right for your business. So I think Logan sees the potential of not necessarily a successor, but somebody he can mentor into a very effective businessman. And as I said, going back to when they were game planning about Pierce, Roman's instincts are to go full throttle when it comes to the news, play fast and loose with the truth, and that is a style that fits more with ATN. So you see it in the preview that he's a bit conflicted about what he should do because, similar to Connor, I think Roman would like the family to be together, to be united as much as they could be, but what's the best path for Roman? And it may be working with Logan. So we'll see. And I think that adds a very compelling confliction for that character. And the kids realizing that he was texting Logan was so funny, behind their back. She's like, I want to see your phone. And that's where you saw the bickering that you would see in like the earlier seasons where they get super personal and mean with each other. We haven't seen that yet up until this moment. So it was fun to get a little taste of that. But on the other hand, it's been fun to watch Roman and Kendall act like brothers again. Like when they're watching Carrie's audition tape and they're just having the best time of their lives.
Oh, yeah, this is special.
They don't want to leave to Connor's rehearsal.
That's such a, like those moments, like I try to put myself in Tom's shoes. I honestly think Logan would respect if he was like, yo, this is dog shit.
I think so too, yeah, because once again, he's looking for an answer. The first time, say yes, and the second time, say no. So Tom, he'd be better off just speaking his mind in a polite way, as only Tom can do. Because he is good at softening those blows. He needs to be a bit more confident in himself.
She has a lot to learn. A lot.
I think the hardest I laughed this episode was when Greg told her that her arms didn't look good on camera.
A little, the arms aren't right, or they're a little un-TV.
And that sometimes, it's the way they shoot it. The cameras could be weird.
Yeah.
Just so perfectly written where something like that can, he's trying to piece together everything Tom
He's
told
like
him.
remembering little nuggets like, a focus group. There's a focus group. And she just completely undresses it.
But it was written in a way where it is scattered, but it feels so natural. Like this would be Cousin Greg being unable to come up with his own ideas in this moment and just, as you said, just picking and choosing the different things he remembers that Tom said. And the way Carrie's going back at him was so funny. Greg being proud of himself at the end is the cherry on top. You did the job, kid. But those audition tapes were so hilarious that she couldn't help but smile at all these awkward times. People underestimate how hard that is, man, to be up there on camera. They think anybody can fucking do it. But Logan getting a job for his girlfriend, he's just as despicable as... he acts like he's above that sort of stuff. But no, he'll trade a job for a blowy, as Roman says. So that was a funny reoccurring bit throughout the episode. And also Kendall quoting Buddha.
Just be water, my friend.
Just people. Wow, thanks, man. What happens if I kill a Buddhist?
Roman's saying, hey, Buddha, nice Tom Fords. So that's been a funny bit, man. Kendall is, I think Tom's my favorite character in the show, but Kendall remains maybe the most fascinating because you never know what's going to come out of that guy's mouth.
Such a little weirdo, man.
Yeah, he's such a weirdo. The pontificating, the wisdoms, one moment he's a Buddhist, the next moment he's a cold hard capitalist. He's a man who doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
And it's been so fun to watch. But it was also, when, Connor's trying to shrug it off like he doesn't care that Willa left, and Kendall just blurts out, "This is so fucking weird."
Okay, so...
This is so fucking weird.
It really is so weird.
I feel bad for Connor in this episode.
Oh, me too, dude.
Because he's like, his family doesn't give two shits about him. Like, you saw at the end, like his dad, like when Roman's like, well, it's Connor's wedding, and he's like, eh. And the kid's not making an effort. Shiv just wanted no part of Connor at all.
She wanted to leave as soon as they got there, she was ready to leave and talk about this other deal.
And that's why they're just so disconnected from like what I think most people would want, which money can't really buy. And that's like the relationship you have with like your loved ones and families. And they disregard that because probably of how they were raised and their relationship with their father. In times like that, been stressful for a while, you kind of unsure of the future. And here is your brother who probably needs you right now. And the only thing you can think about is business.
Yeah, it is sad. And especially that speech, even though he... He was being a little colorful with his metaphors about he's a plant that's...
And I'm a plant that grows on rocks and lives off insects that die inside of me.
It got super dark and depressing, but it is real because, as he says, his superpower is never receiving love. So your heart breaks for this character because even though he's marrying a woman who, we know what the deal is with that relationship. It's just he garners the most sympathy because he's the most normal, even though he's fucked up and he's got his own issues. But he's just a guy, as I said. He's somebody who wakes up and he crosses off the X on the calendar and he looks forward to a new day. And it was, you know what? It did warm my heart there at the end to see Willow was home.
Yeah.
That would have been even more devastating if he came home to an empty house. You know, like Shiv comes home and nobody's there to greet her. At the very least, Connor has that, so I hope it works out for those crazy kids.
Me too.
Can we get one happy ending? God damn it.
I like Willow.
I do like Willow too, yeah. I think she's really evolved as something that was there for comedic purposes to a fleshed out character, where she even has become conflicted about this. And I think it's a little bit of, maybe I do appreciate Connor more than I thought. Because look, now he's losing money on his presidential campaign, right? That's why he wants the deal.
Yeah, his status has took a big dip. Since
no, that's
dating.
interesting. It's only gone down, and it seems like Willow's, maybe not love, but just appreciation for him has gone up, and maybe one day that will be love. Maybe I'm being a soft-hearted romantic here, but that's one thing I can hope for. And it's always in the back of my head, like, Kendall, you have children. You want fulfillment in life? Go raise your fucking kids. You named your kid after Allen Iverson. You don't think he's being bullied for that after all this talk about Iverson's inefficiency? Worst true shooting ever of a high-volume score. You need to be there for your kids, man.
Yeah, but he shifted the NBA culture.
That is true. No, yeah, he brought the braids and tats.
Play to win, he don't play for stats. Brought the hood to the game and they love him for the braids and tats.
You know, it was also just like a fucking scumbag move. It was Logan taking all the divorce lawyers for Tom.
Yeah, dude, pulling an old Tony Soprano. That was a mob move.
That always happens, I feel like. I don't get it. Like, once you talk to a divorce lawyer, they can't talk to the other party. Because you could just call everybody.
Well, it's I think that's what
he did.
That's what he did. Yeah, she's gonna have to go to Jersey.
Ugh.
Yeah, for a lawyer, or Long Island.
Ooh, that's even worse.
Walk in the office, you find somebody like Nash. You know, you get those fucking bagels yet? The whole office is starving.
Actually, I would take like a 50-year-old Long Island woman to be my divorce attorney. They would get anything they wanted.
You want to be my dad's little bitch boy? Why don't you deliver him a message, bitch boy? Tell him to fuck off and stay out of my life.
I think that's the meanest we've seen Shiv beat to Tom, when she straight up just calls him Logan's little bitch boy.
I mean, obviously, we can argue about
he's playing a dirty game.
Who's in the wrong in the past, and obviously Shiv has done very bad things to Tom, and vice versa, but like, that's a dirty fucking move there.
No, it really is, dude. And that's why when Logan says, I'm sorry, they're like, for what? Because you've done so much. And he goes, well, for starters, the helicopter. That's the first thing on his mind. Like, sorry I fucked you over with the helicopter. And Shiv's like, oh, what about you telling Tom to talk to every divorce lawyer in town like you fucked over our mother? So yeah, as you said, a dirty, dirty trick. But that's
go back to the plays that work.
Well, right. It's Tom's almost become Frankenstein's monster, because she brings him into the fold thinking, oh, he worships me because what I can do for him. I can help him with his career, with his status. But now he's got now he's on her level. So she's seeing this monster that she's created throw so much filth her way, and she's so taken aback by it. So reap what you sow, as they say. She's always planning, always scheming, but there's the thing that she wasn't focusing on that always comes back to bite her. And I think that's a funny aspect of her character. You know, as hard as she tries to stay on that sturdy path, she's always slipping on banana peels. She doesn't have that wiggle in her game. She doesn't have that Euro step. Like Logan, you know? No, Logan's just a fucking bulldozer. Also, so funny, dude, when Kendall was talking about a 24-hour show dedicated to what's happening in Africa.
Yeah, oh my God. So I'd watch that.
Sub-Saharan Africa.
Every day, just what is happening in Africa. The Maghreb, Sub-Saharan East, Sub-Saharan West. I would watch that shit.
Yeah, some of their, like, obviously big picture, I think, especially like season 1, Kendall trying to break away from local television and things like that and have an eye for what's coming in the future. I think good ideas, but when it comes down to it, like what he wants to do with some of those ideas isn't always it just isn't good. It's like he watches one like YouTube video about like what's coming technology wise, and he's like, yeah, we gotta get in that, we gotta get in this, and just throws a bunch of buzzwords out there.
You know what would be funny, dude, if Kendall ended the season as like Andrew Tate, where he realizes none of this is ever going to work for him. I'm just going to dive headfirst into toxic masculinity, because I feel like Jeremy Strong could pull that off, you know?
Well, no, but like if he was in today's world, he would be like, all right, so yeah, we got to AI. I think we push heavy into AI.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just jumping. Crypto's dead. It's all about AI. That's real technology.
But like 2 years ago, he would have been like, crypto's the future.
Blockchain?
Dad, you want cash? Like, what? No.
Waystar Roy coin? Come on, man.
Oh, he would have his own coin.
Yeah, 100%. I guarantee his Twitter profile is a Bored Ape NFT.
Probably even still to this day. Like after all that's passed, like he's still holding on to it.
No, he's still holding on to it. Even though the value's gone down, it's going to go up. Trust me, it's going to go up. And then eventually he gets into celebrity boxing. He's just such a ridiculous man. But, the show it's always funny. It's always well written. But I think it may be too early to compare it to season 3, but it feels like the pacing is a little better. That things are moving more naturally from scene to scene and moment to moment. Whereas season 3, as much as I loved it, I think it may be the weakest of the first 3, where it feels like, okay, this is, every episode felt so contained. More contained than these first 2 episodes, where they're really doing a good job of leading into the next one.
Yeah.
We know where it's sort of heading, where, as I said, it's going to be Roman conflicted about who he should side with. So I think it may be too early to compare them, but I think so far it's off to a bit of a better start.
Well, I think with like an 8-episode season, I kind of would like the Sale arc to be wrapped up maybe around episode 4, and just so we can kind of get into what the rest of this, like what the finish line is going to be. Because I would kind of be maybe not disappointed. Like it all depends on how it's executed, but if this was all dragged out and like this is the ending, like the Sale is the end of it, I would kind of be a little, I want there to be something more after.
Yeah, it will be exciting to see what direction they go in, because even what he teased, the Sale goes through, I have ATN, you have Pierce, and that's how we move forward. So that could be interesting too, to see their, the different ways they approach late night news and the coverage of the election. So there's ways that they can still battle each other without being entangled with these business deals. But it's always going to come down to the execution, and I'm confident whatever they have in store is going to surprise us, because I think for all the shows that we've reviewed, my predictions have never been more wrong than when talking about Succession. And I think that's a credit to the writing, where it's not that they're just pulling the rug out, but it's just such a natural, free-flowing show where the events, it's hard to predict. It's like real life. Mm-hmm. So I'm just so excited for the rest of this season, and next Sunday can't come soon enough, man. I've had such a blast with these first 2 episodes. Yeah, and it's funny, I said on the last review we weren't going to do any more because nobody watches them, and then all of a sudden it's one of our best videos as of late. So now I'm going to try that again, man. Selena Gomez never answers my DMs. I'm just going to give up. I'm going to stop trying.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
Right,
here.
yeah. There's you don't try one, because I feel like mine is enough. It's only going to work for one of us.
Yeah, so okay.
What would have been yours?
I would have just taken Selena Gomez from you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's this show. You keep trying to Succession me.
Yeah. Wow, that was probably our best review yet. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here with a brief shameless plug before we end the video. Do you ever feel like you don't have an adequate amount of nerd soup in your life? Like you're going to bed hungry and yearning for the nonsensical yet entertaining nutrients our podcasts provide? Well, we've come up with the perfect solution. The Nerd Soup Fan Question Podcasts, exclusively available to our Patreon supporters. You can sign up now by visiting patreon.com/nerdsoup, and for the price of only $1 per month, you'll receive exclusive access to our weekly podcast where we answer your questions that don't make it to the main show. And while you're there, you can check out the other rewards we offer to our patrons, like stickers, mugs, t-shirts, behind-the-scenes footage, and appearing in the credits at the end of our videos. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Roll the names of the nerds who make Nerd Soup possible. The reason why the crypto crash didn't send our lives spiraling down a black hole of no return. Alright, I'll stop talking so you can listen to this jazzy-ass music while checking if Beau spelt your name wrong in the credits.